Jefferson Nunn, and we're just getting going for the day. I apologize, I've got a couple of kids that run around, so they like to move things around, make life interesting for me, you know? All right, so it's been another fascinating week in the world of health. There's been a lot more interesting things that have come up that you should be aware of. But first, I want to cover why you should listen to me. Out of all people, what do I know about toxins in our environment? I know quite a bit, actually, because I was exposed to toxins over a 2 year period. And it has significantly altered my health. Like this morning, I had a lot of pains, but I still, actually, even all night, I had a lot of pains. Um, and I still try to do what I can to get through another day, to provide for my family, and to communicate with you guys about all that is going on in our world and to try to make a difference. Hopefully, if we work together, we can make that difference. So I've been through it, I'm still going through it, and perhaps this is a good place to start because I had talked about last time that I would cover this particular issue. What is it like? What is it like to be exposed to toxins into the environment? What signs and symptoms do you get? How can somebody potentially avoid toxins in the environment and not end up damaged? And if you are damaged, you know, what can you do to get past that, right? Those are all the different excellent questions, very excellent questions. And I have some answers to that. For me, it started off the very first indication that something was wrong was I had a very bad headache and it would not go away. I tried taking Advil, I tried taking Tylenol. No matter what I did, I still had a very bad headache. So I went to the ER because by then it had been about 6 hours of having a very bad headache. I went to the ER. I said, Doc, I got a headache that won't go away. They did a CAT scan. They didn't find anything. He gave me a pill, kind of sort of made it a little bit better. Went back home. I slept for a bit. I woke up. The headache was still there, but not quite as bad. I just went about the day. The problem with toxins, such as mold, is the effects that it manifests are similar to like COVID and to other diseases that affect the entire body. So as a result, symptoms may manifest in a variety of different places that you may not expect. They may manifest, in my case, it started in the head. It may manifest in the stomach. It may manifest throughout the body. It may manifest in the eustachian tube, which is at the very inside of the ear. It can manifest in the eyes. It can manifest with difficulty breathing. There's a lot of different places that the mold, depending on where it lands, it will produce toxins, and then it will compete for the resources in your body. See, mold is a living organism. It may not have so much greater intelligence, but it's got enough of an input and an output that it will try to breathe in oxygen, food, energy, and it'll try to poop out toxins to destroy your body in an attempt to get more resources for itself. It's insidious. It really is. So if you get mold in the sinuses, that it embeds itself there, then you'll have sinus problems. If you get mold in the lungs, you'll get difficulty breathing. If you get mold in the eustachian tube, the tube will pop, giving you pain. If you get mold in the stomach or the gallbladder, it'll get stuck up in there and you'll have difficulty absorbing food. That's what happens when mold is there. Mold is there in your stomach absorbing the food and you're not getting it. If you get mold producing toxins in any of these places, those toxins are carried through your bloodstream and it may have secondary effects of pain throughout your body. It may fry parts of your brain. It may fry muscles all throughout your body. It may give you tinnitus that never goes away. It may give you pain that never goes away. If you go to a doctor, they don't know. They simply don't know about these things. They don't understand mold toxicity. They don't understand toxicity in general. You know, lawmakers in Rockland County are trying to figure out what's going on with their polluted water. You know, they got residents complaining of problems with polluted water, and it seems like nobody cares. Meanwhile, people are dying. You know, there's a kid that got exposed to toxins, and you know, this particular island was advertised as safe to live on near San Francisco, but her son developed a tumor, deadly brain tumor, brainstem glioma. Her son is 10. That's not a tumor you can recover from easily, if at all. So there's a lot of toxins that are out there. If you're aware of some of the early signs of what I'd like to call toxic response syndrome, it's possible that you can get out of the environment or at least mitigate some of the worst effects of that environment to protect your health. Clean air, clean food, clean water. That's what we humans need. You can filter your air. You can filter your water. You can try to make sure the food you eat is clean. Make sure you're not in a house with mold. Make sure you're not living on an island that has lots of toxins in it. Make sure that you stay away from blue-green algae as found in the Hudson Bend area of Lake Travis. That blue-green algae contains cyanotoxin. And you know, they go, okay, well, make sure your dogs don't get near the lake, you know? But what about the fish that comes from it? What about the plants that are around it? So, long story short, if you see some of the early effects of toxic response syndrome, which is nausea, vomiting, you know, excessive peeing, headaches, other similar maladies, examine the environment that you're in, potentially leave the environment that you're in. And if you can't, try to mitigate the environment that you're in as much as you can. Doctors aren't going to necessarily understand it. Once you get out of that environment, if you still have those symptoms, despite doing everything you can to remediate, there are some things that may help, but nothing. If your body's been permanently altered by it, the best that I can say is that you have to learn to live with it. And the best advice I can give there is similar to what getting yourself into a frame of mind as athletes do that are in it for the long run. Athletes, when they train, and they train to a particular intensity or a particular focus to competitively win an event, they set aside their preferences. That's that runner's high. That's that moment of zen. They set aside their preferences for pain. They set aside their preferences for the various sounds around them. Anything that's negative, just ignore it. They set aside their preferences for what would be comfortable in eating and in exercise. Even I'm learning to do the same, to set aside those same preferences and to exercise, even if it is painful. And the next day I feel like I've been run over by a Mack truck, but I set aside my preference to be comfortable and instead focus on what's around me, my family, my work, what remains of my life. There are some medicines that can help a little bit. There are some supplements that can help a little bit. And that's it. That's the best medical science has to offer at this time. There is nothing better than this within the realm of medical science at this time. So this is why Biotoxin Foundation has been started. This is why we're so focused on liquid health news about toxins in our environment. And we would welcome your participation. Every Sunday, we'll go live. We'll answer your questions. We'll look at the news, and we'll try to help. Stay safe, everyone.